Hi photography students, today you are going to be learning about how to do filters. This will be a good refresher if you've forgotten or if you weren't in class at the time I was showing you how to use filters, alright? So what you need to do to start off with is you need to have two photos open. So they should be of the same series, maybe a close-up image and a far shot. Again, just like how we do with all our photos, make sure that you are editing the image size, editing the levels, making sure they're all correct, and then holding down shift to select all your layers, press command E to merge all the layers. You need to make sure you're in the move tool, because if you're not in the move tool you will not be able to shift your image. Drag that image into your original image, and if it's an incorrect size, like it's slightly out, you can always use the arrows to adjust the size of the image. Okay, so you just drag it from the edge, holding down shift so you don't stretch your image. If you don't hold down shift, you're going to stretch your image and it's going to look terrible. Okay, so we've got two images here. I'm just moving it around to decide where I want it. Then I'm going to go where it says normal, and these are our filters. I'm going to go down to lighten, and I have now created a effect where I can still see the photo underneath, and that is called superimposing. Real simple, really easy. Print that layer and you're done. I'm going to delete that layer now, and I'm going to move on to the next technique, which you need to create a layer by just pressing that square plus button down the bottom. You need to make sure you've got paint bucket selected. We've chosen blue. Sometimes it's good to name your layers so you know exactly which one you're in. And obviously as you move down the filters, you can decide which filter works best for your photo. You might decide from here that maybe your blue is a bit too dark, or your colour you've chosen a bit too dark. You might want to change it. You can also do that. Remember, you can scroll all the way down. There's a lot more filters than just what is there. I'm going to decide on one of these bottom ones, I think. Done. So from there I can merge these layers, makes it easier to print. Press print, off you go. Again, I also want to show you history. So here in this toolbar is everything I've done so far to my photos today. I can move back, way back to the start of my original image, or I can go halfway through and edit it from that point. Look, that's when we did the blur tool, the smudge tool I mean. There's so many different things in here. So you can go all the way back to your original image. Remind yourselves though that when you go back to your original image, you're going to have to go back and change the size again. It's going to also delete all that information as well. Press OK, unlock it, change levels if you need. And this one I'm going to remind you how to do selective colour. So I've created a black and white layer. I've made sure my box is, the white box has been selected. I'm going to zoom in on this photo. I've got my paintbrush selected. And just edit to the size of my brush. Make sure that your paint is black with the white one behind it. If it's the other way, then what's going to happen is you're going to not be able to delete any of that black layer. So when the black one's selected, you can do whatever you like. I'm just making sure that I like the brush size, because when I can see in this one I can still catch quite a bit of the pink area. And a good way to edit that is to change the opacity. But when you zoom in on your photos, you obviously do need to change your brush size as well. Selective colour can be tricky when you're trying to do quite geometrical shapes, and that's when you're going to need to use your delete tool. But you can also change opacity, and you can just go slightly on the edges, and you shouldn't be able to capture any of that background. But if you do, like I say, all you need to do is swap your colours around like I just did. So white's in the foreground and the black is in the background. The white acts like an erase tool. Alright, zooming in, short keys are Command minus or Command plus. You need to learn your short keys, makes Photoshop so much more easier to use. Delete that line. The next tool I'm going to show you how to use that we've used previously is the clone tool. Now you need to hold down Option to select the area that you want to clone, remember, and then you can move around and clone. Now I can do this ghastly effect right here where I'm just going to clone in the vase again on top of this area, and obviously it doesn't look the greatest, it doesn't look nicely put together, but especially when you're working in the studio, sometimes the paper can have a crease in it, and the clone tool can be a fantastic tool to use to edit out any of those creases just by selecting another area of the background and painting it in using our clone stamp tool. As I'm showing here, I'm just painting in some of the sky. Again, you can change the opacity so it's not so harsh, and you can make the background a bit more subtle. Obviously I don't recommend painting in 3 vases, it doesn't look pretty, it's not effective, but just to show you, to remind you how to use that clone tool. Obviously you can also delete things as well. My opacity is down, so it would take me a bit too long to delete that bottle, so just painting it in, you can tell that the colours aren't quite correct. I've got a dark pink about it, so you need to make sure that you're finding the right colour area if you're deleting something out of your photos that works best, and that can just be changing your opacity or just adjusting where you're pulling your colours from. I'd say this is far too pink currently, and it's not going to work. It's going to be really noticeable when I print it, so I'm going to have to pull from the bottom of the picture to get a more pink effect. I can blend that just using opacity. Adjusting the opacity, I can make the pinks blend better together. Again, I'm going to my history and show you that how I've deleted that. The printer is quite forgiving, and you don't have to be perfect, but it will obviously tell you if you're not. So that's it for today. Those are all the filters that you need for this current assignment. So yeah, good luck.